Order the Human Services Advisory Commission on Thursday, September 11, 2025. Could we start with a roll call, please?
Chair Lurie.
Here.
Vice Chair Jung.
Here.
Commissioner Jameson.
Here.
Commissioner Scheer.
Here.
Commissioner Cooley.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Rowe. Chair Lurie, you have a quorum.
Thank you. This is the time reserved for public comment. It's reserved for citizen comments regarding non-agendized items. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes per speaker unless otherwise noted. Do we have any comment cards?
Chair Lurie, we do not.
Okay. Before we move forward, in light of the fact that today is September 11th, 24 years ago was a really deep, dark day for the United States, and given that there's been really some recent tragic violence in our country, but furthermore, the city of Scottsdale lost a valuable employee last week, and that individual was Rommel Cordova. I personally had interaction with him. Rommel was the deputy city clerk, and I believe all of us on the commission that during our appointment process interacted with Rommel. He was really a pleasure to work with. I understand he was 37 years old and had a massive stroke. And in light of the violence, the 9/11, and in memory of Rommel Cordova, I'd really like to ask for a moment of silence. Moving forward with our regular agenda, I'd like to see if I could get a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from our August 28th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call vote?
Chair Lurie.
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung.
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson.
Yes.
Commissioner Scheer.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay. All right, thank you. So moving forward, this is a point, once a year we do elections of a chair and a vice chairperson. Let me also say that our bylaws state that somebody can be chair for 2 consecutive years. I am just completing my first year on that as chair. With that, I guess I will ask for nominations for chair.
Mr. Chair, I would be pleased to nominate yourself, Chair Roger Lurie, to serve another term as chair.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Anybody else want to step forward to be chair this coming year? Okay, with that, could we do a roll call vote to, or I guess we need a motion for Roger Lurie to be chair.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call vote.
Chair Lurie.
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung.
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
Commissioner Scheer.
Yes.
All right, and now for vice chair, currently held by Vice Chair Jung, I'd like to nominate Mary for another year as vice chair.
Seconded.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept
Yeah.
the nomination
Oh, and then I'll second that.
for vice chair for Mary Jung.
All right, and a roll call vote?
Chair Lurie.
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung.
Yes.
Commissioner Scheer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson.
Yes.
Okay. So duly noted, and I expect this time next year I'm handing this gavel off to somebody else. Moving forward, really our main topic tonight is going to be homeless programs and services. Both speaking Sue O from as Human Services Manager from the city, and then we'll have Phoenix Rescue Mission and Community House and an officer from the police department. So, Sue?
Thank you, Chair Lori, Vice Chair Jung, members of the commission. My name is Sue O. I'm a Human Service Manager at Vista del Camino, also in charge of the homeless programs. All right, so while there are many organizations working to address homelessness in Scottsdale, tonight I'll be focusing on the programs that Human Services partners with, and we have a couple of members here from other agencies that are going to elaborate on some of the things that I'll be talking about, so I won't go too much into detail. I did report a lot of this information in March, and so I don't have the stats, but Phoenix Rescue Mission has great stats in their presentation that they will be presenting to you tonight. Some of the programs and services that we, Human Services, partners with other agencies are, of course, Phoenix Rescue Mission. We have a contract with them for 5 caseworkers. They provide outreach and navigation, targeted outreach with Scottsdale Police Department, community intervention court case management, and case management. I also want to add that we also have a caseworker in Human Services that is dedicated to provide case management. He focuses on families with children and seniors who are being referred by other caseworkers from different human service centers, especially in our CAP office, who are maybe not eligible for rent assistance and they are going to be evicted, then they'll be referred to the caseworker that we have in our homeless navigation team so that they can start working on shelters or maybe other affordable living situations. We also have the day relief centers at 2 locations still, a community house at South Scottsdale Presbyterian Church and Vista del Camino. Next slide. So, of course, the Day Relief Center, we do have 2 locations right now. Mondays at Community House, Mondays at South Scottsdale Presbyterian Church. Community House really leads that location. It's on Mondays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then Vista del Camino, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It really could not be done without the partnership with public, nonprofit, and faith groups. This Day Relief Center, the Day Relief Centers provide not only a safe place where people experiencing homelessness can find shelter from the heat or the cold, but also navigation to resources. Phoenix Rescue Mission is really going to talk more in detail about the resources that they provide at our Day Relief Centers, but it really provides a place where people feel welcome and they don't feel like it requires anything to be there. And so it helps us build rapport with a lot of people that may have some reservations of getting services. So we build that rapport and then try to get them to receive services from our navigators and even our volunteers and staff. So the partnerships that we have, of course, City of Scottsdale Human Services, Community House, Phoenix Rescue Mission, Scottsdale Community Partners provides a lot of donations for the food that we give there. Local churches bring hot meals every week to the South Scottsdale location, and then community donations, especially clothing that we give out there is through community donations.
Excuse me, Sue, could you speak up just a little bit?
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. So last time I was here, I was unable to provide information on the point-in-time count. For those of you who don't know, the City of Scottsdale does a point-in-time count every year with Maricopa County. The point-in-time count is a count of sheltered and unsheltered people experiencing homelessness on a single day in January. So HUD requires that COCs conduct an annual count of people experiencing homelessness who are sheltered in emergency shelter, transitional housing, and safe havens on a single night. So Scottsdale, the unsheltered count was 105. It is an increase from last year, and the total unsheltered count in Maricopa County was 5,207. Overall, there was an increase in unsheltered and a decrease in sheltered count this year. And I have a little bit more information. The ages of the people that we were able to interview in Scottsdale, the highest category for the ages was 55 through 64. We did have that information when a nonprofit did do a deep dive into people experiencing homelessness across Maricopa County. They did find that Scottsdale had a lot of people experiencing homelessness over the age of 55, and it does show that in our data that we took for point-in-time count this year. We had 6 veterans that reported that they were veterans, and 26 female and 79 males. That's the conclusion of my presentation. I'm happy to answer questions.
Yes, Commissioner Cooley.
Why, thank you, Chair Leary. New Chair Leary. Thanks, Sue, as always. I was just curious if we here at the city had the bandwidth to do a pit count outside of the annual that is done. I know that Tempe had just recently done one over the summer, and they were like, our numbers are down. It's like, well, I would hope so. It's hot out. But I didn't know if there was anything in the works or makings for that sort of thing.
Chair Lurie, Commissioner Cooley, we have talked about wanting to do a point-in-time count some other time rather than January, because it's usually the coldest day or the rainiest day of the year. Unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to, but we have always wanted to, and so if the police department can help out and we can get some other volunteers, then it's absolutely something that we can see if we can do sometime in the summer.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So the point-in-time count this year of 105, you said it's up from last year. How substantially did it increase?
Chair Lurie, members of the commission. So last year, Scottsdale's number was 89. For the unsheltered count. That really had to do with our bridge housing shelter. There were a number of people that we were able to house in our bridge housing program. And so in 2023, it was 64, and so it's gradually had an increase over the years.
And I know you keep a real close eye on the trends in our city. Do you anticipate it's growing this year, even beyond the 105?
Yes, Chair Lurie. So the point-in-time count, the numbers don't really match the stats that we have in terms of the number of contacts that we make. The stats that I have of people visiting the Day Relief Center, the stats that the police department have of contacts that they make with people stating that they're experiencing homelessness, the contacts that Phoenix Rescue Mission makes of people experiencing homelessness. So I do think that number is very low compared to the actual number that we have in Scottsdale.
Sorry to hear that. The other curiosity or question I had pertains to caseworkers. And I know in a moment we'll get to the Phoenix Rescue Mission presentation, but you mentioned a caseworker, I believe, that is a city employee. And what are the hours that caseworkers are available? And I guess this is a question both for you and for Phoenix Rescue Mission.
Yes, Chair Lurie, so the caseworker dedicated, that's the city staff member. He does work 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. And the other two at the Paiute Neighborhood Center also does see clients who are facing eviction. They're also 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. All of our caseworkers through Phoenix Rescue Mission have normal business hours also Monday through Friday. They do take into consideration when we do have a special request. Recently, we asked that there were some early morning outreach efforts because we were getting a lot of Scottsdale Easy requests through in the downtown area, and so they were able to come out very early and see if they can do some outreach while people were getting up and moving on to other cities and other areas. Because when we went out there, unfortunately, we noticed that a lot of them were already gone, so they were able to go out very early in the morning.
Okay, thank you for that. Other questions? Sue, thank you for all that you and your team, Eddie included, do for the city and for the homeless people in our community.
Thank you. Chair Lurie, I do want to introduce our next presenters. I'm going to introduce all of them and then sit down. I'm going to switch it up also. I'm going to have Pastor Jackie Parks go initially, and then Phoenix Rescue Mission, and then we have Lieutenant Kwan from the Scottsdale Police Department. Pastor Jackie Parks is the Executive Director of Community House and also the pastor at South Scottsdale Presbyterian Church. Of course, she and Community House is a key partner to the day relief centers that we have in Scottsdale. Gabe Pretty is the Director of Street Outreach for Phoenix Rescue Mission, who leads the team in Scottsdale. And also with him is Gretchen Caraway, who is the Chief Program Officer at Phoenix Rescue Mission. And then, of course, Lieutenant Kwan, Kevin Kwan, is from the Scottsdale Police Department, who partners with us for the targeted outreach and the public safety. Thank you. Pastor Jackie.
Chair Lurie, Vice Chair Jung, members of the commission, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you guys, to share with you. It is, I think I've said this before, but for those that haven't been introduced to Community House and that I haven't gotten to meet, it is a really great privilege of ours as South Scottsdale Presbyterian and Community House to serve the city of Scottsdale in this way. We find it to be a great joy for us and for our congregation, for our community, and those that we get to invite into a life of building relationships with our friends experiencing homelessness. So Community House exists. I should know this off topic, but you can go next. Do I have the... There we go. Community House exists to bring community, dignity, and hope to our friends experiencing homelessness. Our mission is to invite those without a physical home or relational stability to experience community, dignity, and hope. We focus on relationships and hospitality. That's core to who we are. And we support people on their journey to get off the streets through day relief centers, meals together, worship, gatherings, outreach, and community events. We have been doing this since July of 2018, so we just passed our 7-year mark. It started in 2018 with just like a handful of people, about 6 people during the week that would come to take showers. We were like bare minimum. We maybe could grab some like peanut butter crackers and some snacks. And so it's really fun to look at this progression of how it's just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown over the last 7 years. And it's always interesting to look at the numbers and the stats that we have, because when I see the stats from the point in time count, it always is so shocking to me how low it is. We checked 2 weeks ago, we checked in 104 people on a Monday night. And that was like actual talking to people, getting their names, figuring out where they slept. And to be fair, a few of them are not from Scottsdale. They wouldn't sleep in Scottsdale, but I would say close to 75 to 80% of the people that joined us on Monday would say that they were in Scottsdale. We give up to 70 showers a week. That's kind of how we started and how we have continued. We're really grateful to now have a partnership with Cloud Covered Streets. They come every other week to campus and help help us get more and more people through the showers. We only have one shower on our campus. We've only ever had one shower. And so if our volunteers are on top of it, we can get people like in and out every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes. And we can get usually around 45 to 55 people, depending on how fast people go through the shower, if we don't have cloud-covered streets there. If we do, it's just a huge help with us. So we're grateful. Like Sue said, caring for our friends experiencing homelessness is so multifaceted that it demands that it's a collection of partnerships, and we would agree with that. So we have over 125 volunteers that come and help, whether that's they are getting people through the showers, they're helping do clothing, sort clothing donations, or they're helping serve meals. One of the great joys right now is that there's a lot of high school and middle school students that need NJHS hours or NHS hours. And so any Monday that you come by, you'll see any number of high school students, and I see the police officer. It's okay, we get parent permission for that to happen. But it's really a joy for me. My kids have been involved since the very beginning, and mainly because we see this as more than just a service to our community. We see it as a way of building community, of getting everyone involved in caring for the least, the last, the lost, and the left out. So we have over 30 community partners. That's churches and Rotary clubs and the National Charity League and all their different branches come and serve dinner or do a drive for us. So we do showers and toiletries and a clothing closet. Our community dinners are, again, core to who we are. So every Monday night, we have a community dinner with a delicious dinner. We have case management, like I said, with Phoenix Rescue Mission. They're going to serve, and I talked to Jared just a little bit ago, and I was like, how many people would you say check in? And he said at least 25% of people that come on campus check in with Phoenix Rescue Mission, make sure that they're kind of on track and doing what they need to do. So these are our current programs. The one that's not on here that I just wanted to highlight is our workforce development program that is growing by the week. So we have a group, we have a guy that leads our workforce development program who's building relationships with Circle K's, with Raceway car dealers, with the car wash, and trying to build connections with businesses in the area to work with us and alongside us to get our friends jobs, which has been really successful. We've seen at least 2 people get jobs at Circle K since July. One of our friends got a job at Raceway car wash and has just been slowly working his way up in the ranks. But they meet every week on a Monday with also a therapist, a behavioral health specialist, and they do like a peer support group where they're supporting each other as they get jobs, kind of talking through some of the problems and the barriers to getting jobs. And then we're also giving jobs to people where we have different pieces. He's doing some concrete work and getting people jobs that way. So we're trying to build up this part so that people are ready to get off the streets. So yeah, our impact and our partnerships, I already highlighted a lot of those. Circle the City is another partner that we work with for healthcare. And like I said, our community dinners and watching these relationships build is really, really key to who we are. Many of you know that we are a little bit, we're not totally unstable. We're feeling more settled, actually. But the property that we're at, we're currently renting, and so we're always on the lookout for a new property that we can move to for a more, not only a more permanent place in Scottsdale, but also so that we can open more days of the week. Our desire, our dream would be to have a day relief center 3 to 5 days a week that we can host, and so that would be ideal, and that would be our dream. I had a video, but it didn't upload. Can I just play the audio? Is that acceptable? Would you be okay with that? I'll just like put it up to the microphone. This is just, I took a video of one of our friends who wanted to share the impact of Community House on her life. And so I wanted to at least share the audio with you all because it's really powerful. Oh, let me turn it up. Hold on. And what it has meant to you. Tell me about your experience here in this place and what it has meant to you.
Okay. My experience here has been awesome. I have been homeless for the past 21 months all over Maricopa County. And coming here is a refuge for me. It is a little sanctuary away from being a homeless person. And even though I come here for homeless reasons, I'm not treated like I'm less than when I come here. I am seen and honored and loved and respected and appreciated and fed and hugged and missed in between, and I'm told that by those that volunteer here and run the place and by the other homeless people with me. Like this morning when I got here, I was fortunate enough to have been able to walk here Saturday to get the bus pass to take the bus back here today. But Saturday I walked here, and that's a 14-mile trip. And I have wonderful blisters here to remind me of that. But it was worth it in the 100-degree heat to walk that far here because it is a respite. I can come and just be and not have to do and act and hide and run from the cops or pretend I'm not homeless or, well, you know, whatever. I can just be myself. And when I got here this morning, like 12 people came up to me, hey, I missed you. You all right? How are you? Y'all have become my family. And if I need to ask questions like I just did with you and seek solace or advice, I get it. That's really rare in the world right now. I hope that this continues and that you all blossom and that more people of need choose to come here because you're doing really good work.
Tell me about. So she, just to highlight the impact of Community House, she came and she was really struggling. She's currently actually in transitional living, but she was struggling with maybe I shouldn't be there anymore. I should probably go back on the streets. And because of the relationship that we had built with her, because of the trust and the love that she had experienced, myself and other volunteers could say, no, you need to stay, and we will be with you as you stay. We will walk alongside you as you stay in this housing and as you try and figure out what is next for your life. So again, with Community House, it's not just a place to catch people. It is mainly a place to catch people that are living on the streets, but it's also walking alongside people so that they stay off the streets for a long time. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks for letting me play the audio of that.
Pastor Jackie, thank you. Thank you so very much for being here, for your inspiring words. One of the things that really touched me as you played that audio was you referred to her as a friend. And that says so much. And I think it was about 18 months ago that I first went over to Community House for the first time and was so inspired. You talk about treating these people with dignity and hope and compassion. And that's so much of what I see when I go over to Community House. And it's so important to help rehabilitate and get people off of the street and into housing, in my opinion. One of the things I was thinking about as you were presenting is this very creative and excellent workforce development program. And I'm hoping that we could bridge or build a collaboration between that and the Vista del Camino Career Center that exists in the city of Scottsdale. So with that, let me look for Commissioner Cooley.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Chair Lurie. And thank you, Pastor Jackie, as always. It's great. I mean, even without the video, that was very moving. The fact that she referred to you as Little Sanctuary is great. Will that video be shared on social media at all
Yeah.
or anything? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, this is like an unedited, we need to
Okay,
do some
yeah.
work on it. I just wanted to share it with you
I
before.
look forward to seeing it. That's
Yeah.
great. Just a couple of quick questions. When cloud-covered streets is not available, do you have access to the city shower trailer that was recently refurbished?
We don't. That's a good point. We haven't utilized the shower trailer quite
Okay.
yet. Yeah, that's something we could look into.
Okay. You're going to say something, aren't you? I can
If I
tell.
may. Chair Lori, Commissioner Cooley, it is being used at Vista del Camino 3 days a week, and it is pretty hard for us to
Move it.
move it to
Gotcha.
the church once a week.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Pastor Jackie, you got a real surge in volunteers between 23 and 24 from, let's just call it 35 to 125. Was that all NHS movers and shakers or what?
No, Chair Larry, Commissioner Cooley. No, I think it was just we really started to get the word out more. Before that, it was kind of just this small congregation, but as the word started growing, I think as we developed a stronger partnership with Phoenix Rescue Mission, with the city, the word started to spread. So, yeah. And the kids, once the kids could get involved. And we got more churches involved, so that ups our volunteer numbers.
That's great. And you're a 501c3, is that correct?
We are, yes.
Okay. And have you filed a Form 990 yet?
We're in the process of doing it. We have one from last year. but-
Excellent.
yeah.
Very good. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate all
guys.
you do.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jackie, congratulations on your incredible journey over the last 7 years. It's so impressive. It's a point of pride for all of us that cheer you on in whatever way we can, and we thank you and your many volunteers for the great work that you are doing, and we hope will continue to do. Just a question for you, and I know it goes beyond Community House, but the meal that you provide is a wonderful addition to their weekly diet and is great. But do you have a sense of how people sort of fend for themselves the other 6 days of the week when, I know at Vista we provide a snack or something along those lines. Can you help us understand kind of what their world is like as it relates to just trying to get by week to week and beyond the Monday night service you have?
Yeah, Chair Lori, Commissioner Shearer. It's a good question. Circle K is really helpful. There's a lot of Polar Pops floating around our city. But also, I mean, I think there's a lot, especially in Tempe. I think we're probably, between us and Vista, that's really the only place that people in South Scottsdale can get a meal on any day of the week. But there are some places in East Mesa and Tempe that people will go to for different days that will do meals. So I think a lot of people do that. We also, as South Scottsdale Presbyterian, we have lunch together every second Sunday, and then we have coffee and donuts, and we give out sandwiches on Sunday mornings also, and we try and give out as much as we can we usually have between 15 and 20 of our friends that join us for worship on Sunday mornings. And so we try and give away as much as we can to kind of hold people over either for the week or for just between Sunday and Monday.
Super. Just one more question for you. We were pleased to recommend Community House for funding as part of our annual funding process, and that was approved by the City Council. Can you remind us sort of how you're using those funds?
Sure, yeah. Chair Lori, Commissioner Shearer. So part of that is going to our operations, so salaries and helping make sure we have the people in place to run it well. And then also to meals, so a portion of that is going to meals, a portion of that is going to things that we hand out like t-shirts and underwear, and then to some of our location costs, so the rental costs that we have for the actual place where we are.
And just to follow up, thank you. Are you seeing a reduction in other sources of support from other either nonprofits or other entities in the way of either clothing or food or financial assistance?
Chair Larry, Commissioner Sherrod, I mean, donations are always, I wouldn't say they're easy to come by, but people are always excited to, you know, especially now that they know that we're there, we get a regular we get regular clothing donations. Financial donations are always a struggle, especially right now in this economy. And people, I think some of the rhetoric around homelessness, it's not always, for lack of a better term, it's not the sexiest thing that people want to give to, especially the way that we're doing it, that we don't have like gigantic stats, right? Because we're like planting seeds over a long period of time in the hopes that people will get off the streets with stability. So, yeah, that's we're making it work, but that's always a need. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Jackie, great work. Really appreciate it. Going back to the employment issues, this is related. Do you have any idea of how many of your friends are looking for day labor jobs? And I know there's a Lowe's right in your neighborhood there. And if so, do you get a sense or any feedback that they're being hassled for being in those locations? Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, Chair Larry, Commissioner Jameson, I know that people do actually have day labor jobs. So oftentimes they'll come to us after a day of work. So some people do, or they're getting kind of jobs here and there. We haven't pursued any real like long-term partnership. I think that would be our dream, is if we know actual organizations or contractors that we trust. We would really like to build those partnerships, because that's a lot easier for our friends. They feel a lot more confident, I think, in us kind of like taking them to somewhere and saying, hey, you have this job with this person, as opposed to just putting themselves out there over and over and over again. But we do have a number of people that are working on a regular basis and are still on the streets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm back. A quick follow-up. You had mentioned having some paid staff. Have you ever hired any of the folks that are coming to you for services?
Chair Lurie, Commissioner Cooley, we do, not officially, but we do actually have a number of people that volunteer. And so we have had a couple of people that we've paid to do kind of shorter jobs, like if we need something specific done. It's a little bit of a challenge, because if you pay one person, you have to pay a bunch of people, and we don't always have jobs. But we do find that we, a name tag, so we are now wearing name tag, like the volunteers and leaders are wearing name tags, and that's almost like paying someone, because they belong, they have a job, they have a responsibility, and they feel like, I mean, you should see it when some of our friends were like, hey, here's your name tag, and they just take out the trash all day long, or they're cleaning up. I mean, at the end of the night, you would think it's a lot of work to feed over 100 people, and then to clean up from showers and a whole 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours of the day. But we do it so fast because everybody wants to pitch in and do something.
That's great. I'm sure they find pride in those badges
Yeah.
as well.
And we make sure to say we are so proud of you. Like, thank you for being a part of the team. We need you here. So yeah.
Great. Thank you.
We'd like to hire people, but nothing formal yet.
Seeing no other questions, thank you again,
Thank you
Pastor
all.
Jackie.
Appreciate it.
And I would say to my fellow commissioners, if you have not been over to Community House, I'd really encourage you to go over and check it out.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. Thank you all.
I believe next we have Gabe, Director of Street Outreach from Phoenix Rescue Mission.
Good evening, thank you. Yes, my name is Gabe Pretty, Director of Street Outreach at Phoenix Rescue Mission. And tonight I was going to just talk about the different services that we have here in the city of Scottsdale. Pardon? She's doing it? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So yes, we're providing 4 main key things here in Scottsdale. And just basically the idea is cast a wide net. Not every one program may be a fit for any bevy of different reasons. And so really what we focused down on 4 key points. One being day relief centers, the Vista del Camino, Scottsdale Presbyterian, as we've been talking about. We are staffing Vista del Camino. We open and we close it. We provide meals. We provide oversight in that location. And then we're also offering case management services throughout the day to everybody that's coming in. Same thing with idea with Scottsdale Presbyterian. While we're not necessarily doing the operation part of it, we are providing case management services, and we are helping just kind of keep order with the whole process there during the day. We have 2 staff dedicated to those locations, Monday through Thursday. And then we have a single staff member who's working with the Community Intervention Court program. Basically, through that program, the court identifies people that are coming through that have misdemeanor type offenses, maybe something that could be kind of classified as homeless type offenses where they're reoccurring, and they offer them an opportunity to enter into an agreement that has some stipulations. With some of the obstacles of the folks, of course, though, being in the situations they are, some of those can be pretty daunting. Well, how am I going to get here? How am I going to do that? How do I have the possibility of connecting to this class when I don't really know where I'm staying tonight? One of the roles of our case manager that works with this court is that they're gonna see to it that you make those appointments, and they're gonna walk beside them and help unravel some of the mystery of how to get it signed up for certain things, or how they might be successful and make sure that they're hitting all their classes, or even in some instances, how are they going to pay for those classes, right? You may have a class that has a couple $100 sign-up thing, or there's a per class cost. Well, we're going to work with you and figure out ways to come up with those costs so that you can be successful again. And then we're going back in periodically, and we're reporting to the court the progress with those folks, whether or not they're staying on track, whether or not they've dropped off and we haven't seen or heard from them and they've become unreachable. Or in the best case scenario, right, we're reporting that they've successfully completed all of their things that are outlined in their plea agreements. We also have someone that's stationed at the library here. They work Monday through Thursday here, and then Friday up at Mustang. They are offering the same thing that we're offering in all the different centers. They're offering the case management services, right? The things that we can connect them to programs, whether it be detox, whether it be residential recovery programs, whether it be connection to mental health services, whether it be ID needs, housing needs, employment needs. For those of you that may not be familiar, Phoenix Rescue Mission has long-term residential recovery programs. So we do like to try and get people placed into those when it fits. But we also recognize that our program may not be suitable for everyone. It just may not be their cup of tea. They may prefer something shorter, because ours is a 1-year commitment at minimum, right? So it definitely cannot fit everyone's ability. So we work with everybody in the valley. We will place you in a 30-day program, a 60-day program, a 90-day program, a 6-month program, if that's what you're looking at. If you're not wanting to do a program, even if we think that it might be best, we're still, at the end of the day, the client has to be the one that designs their program, because if I'm telling you what to do, the odds are it's probably not going to happen when you're actually the one that needs to decide this is what best fits you, right? We can offer great advice, and we can try to steer them in directions, but at the end of the day, if you're set on that, who's to say that's not going to work? So let's get working and figure out how to get you connected to those things. Can we go to the next slide? So one of the things down here at the bottom is you'll see contacts, engagements, and placements. I would like to just kind of give a brief description of what those are so you know what you're looking at. Contacts, we call them anonymous contacts. So when we're out there doing outreach, right, one of the things that we like to do is If we see you at a bus stop, if we see you in an alley, if we see you at the day relief center, if we see you walking down the side of the street and it looks like you may be someone that could benefit from receiving services, we're going to pull over. We're going to get out of the car. You may see them. They say Hope Coach on the side. They say Phoenix Rescue Mission. We're going to pull over. We're going to try to engage with you. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to offer you a bottle of water, and we're going to offer you what we call a Hope Tote, which contain hygiene items. And then depending on the season, it may contain some seasonal things as well, whether it be like sunscreen, whether in the winter it may be a pair of gloves or something like that. But just something to break the ice, something to allow us to introduce ourselves and kind of make a pitch, so to speak, right? This is who we are, this is what we offer. If you're interested in any of those, let's sit down and talk about it. Some people, they may not be interested at all, and they take the bottle of water, they say thank you, and they move on. That is an anonymous contact, right? So that's where you're going to see down at the bottom. At the day relief centers, we had 2,187 contacts. Now, out of those 2,187 contacts, we moved to engagement. So engagement is when we learn identifiable information, something that I can enter you into the database, or I can reference a previous entry and see what progression or see where, who you may have worked with prior, what's being worked on with you, what you may have received in the past, what, in some instance, what you may have lost, right? So you may have been on a housing voucher. We can see that, but we can also see that that voucher ended prematurely, potentially, in some cases. But we can just kind of see where we're standing at. And one of those databases, is HMIS, so the Homeless Management Information System. It's used nationwide. Here we restrict it down to countywide for the window that I can see in, right? But I can see anybody that's doing similar programs, what progress they've made with X individual, as long as they're in there. Engagement also is, because we've learned that identifiable information, we have been able to offer you a service, or you have accepted a service that has a monetary value attached. So let's say I've gotten you an ID. Let's say that I may have purchased you a birth certificate. I may have gotten you a bus pass. Those types of things, those are all going to fall into that engagement category. So contacts is the starting point. Out of the contacts, engagements happen. Out of the engagements, one of the outcomes is placement, right? So out of the 463 engagements that we have had at the day relief centers, we've had 23 placements. We categorize placements as either permanent housing or placement into a program, like residential program, detox program, maybe a hospital setting. Any of those placements are going to be lumped into one thing for the purpose of this slide. The date range on this thing is from 1/31/25 and through the end of August. And this is just at the day relief centers. Next slide, please. Again, we're talking about the library now. We have shifted a bit. This is the case manager there is stationary for the most part. People are coming in. He's walking around the library looking for folks that kind of would suggest that he should walk up and introduce himself and say, hey, this is what we're doing. He'll also take periodic walks around the outside of that library to see if there's people on the grounds that fit that bill as well, just offering services, introducing himself. We also have an office inside of there, so anybody can walk in. They have a little A-frame that says that we're there in the hours, and people can walk in and they can speak with Stephen while he's there. We are capturing all of these placements inside of the outreach slide, which is the next, I believe, the next slide. So we'll see that there as well. We can go to next. Community Intervention Court, we talked about a bit. These are the numbers for that. So it is a smaller scale thing. So on the days that she's not working with clients, she is partnering with PD. They'll do joint outreaches with PD, and then she's also doing the normal mobile outreach that we do throughout the city as well. So we've had so far to date, from the 31st to through August, we've had 6 clients assigned to us through their plea agreements. We've had 1 successful completion, and we have 12 transports to services. We have 5 clients that are still kind of in progress, yet to be determined. We're hoping that they will end up successful, but that's where we are at to date. So the outreach and navigation, which is really everything is kind of an offshoot of this program, right? We have the 1,303 contacts, out of which came 592 engagements. Out of those 592 engagements, we had 50 total placements. This one breaks it down because it's a little larger number, right? So we've had 20 to go to Phoenix Rescue Mission, 10 go to permanent housing, and 20 go to external temporary. So for the sake of description, external temporary means anything that isn't permanent housing or a placement into PRM residential program, right? But it results in them being off the street. As far as outreach and navigation, what we are offering besides just like, or I guess I should summarize the case management, right? So the goal is to get people connected to services that will end their homelessness, and that can look like a ton of different things. As you probably are familiar, the county has what they call a by name list for housing vouchers. Not everybody qualifies. A lot of people can be on that list, but it's typically a very long process, right? For some, they just want to find out if they qualify, and then they are content with just sitting and waiting with the hope, fingers crossed, that they will get drawn for something, right? We strongly encourage people to be proactive in their rescue. We are going to try to move you towards taking some other steps, right? One of those steps maybe be diversion. So you have a brother in another state. You haven't talked to him in a long time. You're not sure if he wants to talk to you. Well, let's make that phone call and see, right? Maybe by a couple phone calls and just kind of reintroducing yourself and maybe them hearing about your situation. They say, hey, if you can get him here, we're willing to take him in. Well, that's great. That's the ideal scenario. That's a quicker, easier scenario for everybody. So we have toolkits built into our contracts that allow us to purchase a Greyhound ticket and get that person or that family on a bus. If it's a large family with a bunch of little kids, we're going to put them on a plane. We're not trying to have them spend 4 days to go across country with a bunch of screaming kids by any means. But that's just one of the steps. And then so while they're waiting for those vouchers or while they're trying to get employment ready, or let's say they've gotten to where they're self-resolving somewhat, they've gotten a job, they are starting to get paychecks, they can now qualify for an apartment. We will come in and we will take a look at what that cost is going to be, and in most cases we're able to reduce that cost for them to get over that hump and get their own unit, and in some cases we're able to completely remove it, right? And so that's just one of the main goals of our team. And then the other one is just we spend so much time just relationship building. When you have been on the street for any length of time, you become very guarded, you become very wary of everyone and anything. And so breaking down those walls and really learning what makes people tick takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of just consistency. It takes a lot of being very careful with what you offer in the way that you offer it, because the last thing you want to do is make a promise that you can't fulfill, right? The minute you do that, you've undone so much work for yourself, right? Because that's one of the main things they hear is whenever we get out there is, yeah, so-and-so said they could help me with housing, or this place did this and said they could do that, and I'm still here, it's 5 years later, right? And so there's a lot of having to resell the dream of not being homeless, I guess, and convincing people that it is possible. So we just go out every day, with the hopes of building relationships and just loving on people and just guiding them and walking with them through the obstacles. Next. This current contract is primarily funded through opioid funding. So there are some opioid, I guess, elements to this. So like when they're coming into the Day Relief Center, we are offering them opioid awareness literature. So we can provide them with like overdose awareness pamphlets. We can provide them with like places that they can go seek treatment at. As I said, we also offer a residential program, and so that's always offered to folks. And we're just going to sit and talk with you, and then they sign off that they've received it. In some cases, we are able to provide them Narcan if they seem to be in distress. we will administer Narcan to them that way, and then call the paramedics, of course. But anything like that, the outreach workers are also providing that during their outreach of just awareness and literature. And so we just want to increase, of course, just the amount of people that have knowledge about what's out there on the streets and how to deal with it. So, next. And so right here we have a couple of pictures of Annette. She's making lunches for one of the sites. It looks like she's opening or closing Vista del Camino. And we have Jared working with the client and kind of entering in stuff on that client's case plan. But I wanted to take a minute to highlight a couple of the successes that our team has turned in for Scottsdale in the just recent time here. So we'll start with a 73-year-old man who was previously housed, had been evicted in December of 2024 and became unsheltered. The case manager attempted to place him in transitional housing through Justice Center, but he was ineligible due to the eviction. While exploring other options, the client was hospitalized after collapsing at a Circle K and was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer following a stroke. After discharge, the client returned to the Thomas Road bike stop. The Scottsdale team supported him through multiple medical appointments, during which a patient navigator submitted a referral to Circle the City Respite. The initial referral was closed after the client missed the pickup. Upon reconnecting, the client expressed continued interest, and the case manager coordinated a second referral and arranged a temporary hotel placement. On June 26th, the case manager ensured the client was picked up and admitted to Circle the City, where he began cancer treatment. Since then, the client has reconnected with family, who are now all involved in his care and attending appointments with him. He is stable and receiving the support he needs. We also have a 65-year-old woman who was experiencing homelessness over the past 2 years. She was first engaged at Vista del Camino Day Relief Center. She had been sleeping outdoors, using a walker, and struggling to access food and hygiene. The client began using the showers at Vista and shared the physical pain and emotional toll of sleeping on the concrete. The case manager provided transportation to a medical appointment at Taros, where they just worked on building more relationship, and she gave them consent to attend future appointments with her. During one visit, the client was offered a housing voucher through the county's H2O program. While waiting for the voucher, she was temporarily placed at Howley's Women's Center. 2 weeks ago, the voucher was approved, and the client has been applied for an apartment. She's now awaiting finalization and is expecting to move in next week. Through consistent support, encouragement, and shared moments of vulnerability, the client now has hope and is preparing to begin a new chapter in stable housing. And so it makes me very happy and I guess feeling just blessed to be a part of those kind of stories, because it's so easy to drive by people and look at them through your car window and say, man, that's too bad, that's sure is sad, and then just go about your day. My team is just so dedicated. They come in every day with just this excitement to go out and serve the members of the community, and I'm so proud to be a part of that team. So I don't know. Do you have any questions?
I am certain there will be questions from this audience. I'm looking to my right.
Why? Who's on your right?
Well, yeah, let me just make a remark that something that so resonated from Pastor Jackie's presentation, from yours, Gabe, is the relationship building and how important that is to give these people hope, and hope that they can get off of the streets and into housing, get employed. So thank you for what you and your team do. And with that, Commissioner Cooley.
Why, thank you, Chair Lurie. Yeah, Gabe, thank you so much, and Gretchen for coming as well. We appreciate you. To Roger's point, and so sorry that we have to say it, but so well put when you said reselling the dream of not being homeless. That's a real mission. Homeless Management Info Services, or HMIS, isn't there And I don't know, Sue may remember this. We were at a Tempe, what was it? Tempe, Tucson Pima Homelessness Coalition General Council meeting or something, and they were talking about alternatives to HMIS. Is there such a thing, or a different database setup or something?
So I guess you would say the industry database now is HMIS. It's used nationwide in pretty much every continuum of care. There are some other versions that people use, like my team does do double data entry because we have adopted a platform called Caseworthy. The drawback to HMIS is it's not as customizable as we would like it to be. There are a lot of things that it can't capture. There's a lot of things it captures fantastic, but there's a lot of things that, depending on a city's need or funding need or funders' need, it can be difficult to accurately capture that data. And so there are many organizations that use a secondary a database to be able to kind of fill that void, but HMIS is the standard.
Very good, thank you. And you're not alone. I know a lot of people are frustrated with it, but you get what you get, right?
Yeah. I will say that one of the things that HMIS, one of the tools inside of HMIS that a lot of people are probably referring to, though, too, is the VI SPDAT, which was basically the scoring tool that placed people on the housing lists, the county housing lists. That has been done away with. They scrapped it here in Phoenix, Maricopa County. They have a different thing that it's replaced with. It still exists inside of HMIS, but they found that when you sat somebody down and said, this is an assessment, it felt guided. And obviously, once enough people figured out what it was and how it worked, you started getting answers that were tailored to get a certain result, just through talk and people, because everybody talks, right? And so they've done away with it. They've made it much more, I think, a much better platform. They're still capturing all the same types of data, but they're doing it in a way of, it's like, we need to enter you in here, we need to onboard you, and here's the questions. And then they're taking certain questions in that onboarding versus it just being a structured answer 1 through 15 and you're gonna get a score. And so they don't really know which one of those answers are gonna be used. And so you get a clear picture, you get some more honest answers, and it doesn't feel like it's a test.
Do they vary the questions at all, change them around as far as which ones are asked first, or?
In that, it can be. So it consists of 3 tabs. 3 main tabs, and realistically, you could start with any tab. So the case manager does have some ability to kind of where that natural progression of that conversation may go, instead of just having it be like next,
Right.
next, right? So maybe in the first question, they answer it in such a way that it makes sense to jump over here, and it just feels better, right? When you're in those conversations, and I think because it feels better, you get more truthful answers.
Very good, thank you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gabe, good to see you again. And
You as well.
And you hang in there and keep up the great work. Your presentation was outstanding. I learned some things from it, and I appreciate that very much. Your description of contact and engagement and then placement was extremely helpful. And I guess I was under the misimpression that, let's just take the community house, day relief or Vista day relief. I guess I was under the impression that when we have a visitor come in, that we will seek them out and try and engage them and make sure they're in the quote system. But I'm seeing only in about 1 in 5 of our visitors that go to the community house or Vista show up as an engagement. Am I missing something here?
So my team definitely is going to approach everybody that comes in, and they're going to try to get them to participate in what we call an onboarding or like entering them into the database, right? But we also recognize that it has to be, again, along the lines of not forcing someone into an interaction. We have to respect the fact that not everybody is there to engage in services. We are going to consistently approach you and ask you and offer things, but if at the end of the day, and it's this kind of the same for out on the street too, it really is, like, they always have the option to tell us no.
Although your percentage of engagements on the street's a little higher, which is
I would agree,
Kinda
but
curious.
I think there's a bit more, so I'll put it like this. If you're coming to a center to come and take a nap, like let's say, because it's a place that they can come and be cool and they can sleep. And a lot of them come in, they get a mat, and they go out, right? If that is your main goal, and someone's coming along and trying to be like, hey,
Gotcha.
hey, yeah, there's going to be those, I think, a higher percentage of those folks in some instances that are going to say no. Plus, they're a little more comfortable, right? When we're engaging people on the street, there's a little more of just a hectic background. The elements are more driving. Maybe the lure of sitting in an air-conditioned vehicle and talking to somebody and drinking a bottle of water is a little higher at sometimes. I would say, though, that we have had great success working with the stationary settings. It is definitely a place that needs to be service to be offered. It's just, like I said, another one of those little pivoted touch points, right? So you're covering a big wide area because those people that we are engaging on the street may not be engaging there, or the people that we can reach there, we may never even see on the street in some instances. And so it is crucial to have multiple areas to be providing those services in. And then for us, just the multiple different case managers, maybe they don't connect with Jared, but they connect with Annette. Well, we're not going to force them to work with Jared. We're going to find ways for them to connect with Annette. And so we have found that just a staffing change or a face change can work very well for some people as well.
great. And just to follow up, again, I'm kind of trying to pry into this notion of an engagement. So you are able to provide a bus ticket to someone and maybe help them get their birth certificate. Is that one engagement or two engagements?
It depends on how that falls out. So if one day you say, I want to go get my birth certificate, right? And we go do that, that will be a singular engagement. If we go do a bus or a birth certificate, and then in that conversation, all this other stuff comes up, we will go handle all that, and that's one engagement.
Gotcha.
Right? And
So it's sort of a point in time type of situation, if depending on when it happens.
it can be. And the next time you have us down here, if you'd like, I can include what we call unduplicated engagement, and that will tell you how many engagements we have with singular individuals. Like right now, we have it's a duplicated engagement, so we have all the engagements that have happened with everybody, right? We can narrow that down with our secondary database reporting abilities. We can narrow that down a little bit, and I can tell you it comes down to like how many singular people have been engaged.
Well, thank you. I didn't mean to get you down in the weeds so deep, but I was just curious. It helps me understand, and especially the dynamics associated with what happens at our day relief centers. And one final question relative to Vista. Have a good handle as it relates to community house, but what are we seeing in terms of sort of average daily visitors at Vista Day Relief?
That's a great question. I don't actually happen to have that in front of me.
I bet Sue or Eddie does off the top of their head. And I'm just looking for estimate, average. Is it?
Chair Lurie, I am gonna have Eddie come up here and tell you. We do have that information, but Eddie, do you want to come up here and say it in the mic?
Chair Lear and Vice Chair Jung and members of the commission. On average, so unduplicated for us, we go by monthly. It doesn't necessarily mean unduplicated all year round for one individual that we help all year round, but we average about 200 unduplicated people that come to our day relief center.
Every month?
Yes.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you. That's great.
And I would also say that I would corroborate what Sue and Pastor Jackie were saying about the pit count. Historically, across every city, the number that comes back, most providers kind of be like, well, we know it's higher than that. This year, like the year before, there was a freeze the night of the pit count, like leading into. This last year, it rained ridiculously amount, and it was the middle of winter. And then we start at dark. So it's people hunker down, people find shelter in the weirdest places, and they make it hard for them to find them. And then in a lot of cities, they broadcast that it's going to happen, and so a lot of people just kind of vanish, to be frank. They don't want to be bothered, they don't want to be rousted, and so they find a way to remain hidden. And so, yeah, pit count, I would agree. If you guys can find a way to do something, we'd be happy to support you in that. We'd throw staff at that for sure. So,
Commissioner Hill.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I do have a few questions, and maybe some of these you can answer and maybe some you can't, but I did want to go back to the community house, and I feel bad I didn't ask this question earlier, but can you tell me how many set days that Cloud Covered Streets comes and is there for people to utilize their services?
I can answer that. It's Community House is there every Monday, and Cloud Cover is there every other Monday. So
they're only there every other Monday?
Correct.
Okay. I happen to follow them on Facebook and have worked with them. And so one of the things that I generally see from doing that is that the people that come know they're going to be in a particular location, you know, quite frequently. And if they're not in that location, then people get very upset. And I'm sure that's with any situation. They think they're going to be there and then they're not there. And so I happen to really like that organization, and it's one that a lot of my nonprofits that I belong to support.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they're in many places throughout the valley.
They are.
Okay, so yeah, so that's why I wondered how often they actually were there, because I know they do a really nice job, and I know they're always looking for people to cut hair. And that's very frustrating because when people go for job interviews, they come and they want haircuts, and there's not anybody there. So if there's anybody listening that can cut hair, I know they really want to do that. But the other question we had, it was about washing clothes and where people can actually get their clothes washed. And is that something that any of the areas that you deal with, do you have a place that they can wash their clothes?
So in some cities, we have places that have locations to wash their clothes.
Chair Lurie, Commissioner Hill, we are exploring some nonprofits that do have it's kind of like Cloud Covered Streets. They go to different areas and provide services where they can take their clothes and then wash it for them and then bring it back. So Eddie's actually exploring some of those options to come to our day relief centers to see if they can do that as well.
Okay, that would be wonderful, and I know that is one of the things that they do when they're working. I know that they provide that too. So, and then let me see, one other question. I don't know if you have an agreement or a connection with Scottsdale Community College. Do you work at all with Scottsdale Community College, or is that because it's on the reservation, not part of your area or your purview?
I don't specifically partner with them in any way. If we have services that are, if we have clients that reach out to us, like through our hotline or our ticketing system per se, and they are connected somehow with them, we would serve them.
Okay. The reason I ask that is, as you know, you might know, my husband is a police officer, and so he works on the community colleges, and they have a lot of people who are in the libraries there, and you talked about the libraries in Scottsdale, but they have a lot of people who visit the libraries on the community college campuses that are homeless. And so I didn't know if you had any type of connection, and I'm not trying to expand your world anymore. But I think that he experiences a lot of that. In addition to that, also, the hospitals often release a lot of patients, and the patients then don't know where to go and they have no place to go. And so he encounters that as well quite often. And is that something that you have any type of connection with, of how to help people who have been released from the hospital?
So that happens quite a bit, especially there's a lot of places that have a tendency to, I'm going to use the word dump people in our parking lot at our what we call Mission Support Center. It's like our admin building. They just look up Phoenix Rescue Mission and they make an assumption and then they dump them in the parking lot. And then we find ways to place them as best we can. So that is something that our outreach team can handle for sure. If you encounter those, please reach out to our team or reach out to Sue and she'll let us know and we'll get somebody to come and engage with them.
So you don't have anybody on the inside that actually contacts someone and says, we have to release this patient. Is there something that can be done? Is there any connection or partnership there at all?
I do not have any type of partnership like that directly with the hospital.
Okay.
Like I said, we have long-term residential programs. I am something separate from that. I have the ability to do like a pre-screening and set up intake appointments for those folks. And then the program has its own set of like more in-depth screening process to determine eligibility. And so the campus, I'm sure, deals with some of that as well, but if they're just getting out of a hospital, there's probably not a lot because they have to be able to be on their feet and do like work therapy assignments and things like that. It's really gonna be one of those things that if they're being put out like that, they're probably experiencing homelessness, otherwise they could be going home. And so the best place to connect them to is gonna be one of our outreach team that serves here in Scottsdale. And then they can meet with the client, they can figure out what all the obstacles may be, what they may be eligible for, and make a connection based on like real-time assessment.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In the city of Scottsdale, where Honor Health has hospitals, and in Phoenix, we have embedded navigators that work with individuals that are experiencing homelessness. And we also have Circle the City navigators that specialize in placing patients and reuniting them with either family or getting them to a respite location. And we work with a transportation company or nonprofit to deliver those individuals, to pick up their medications and then deliver them where they want to go. And then there are a certain number that walk out. So it's definitely something that, at least at Honor Health, I can speak to, that it's definitely a focus area in our discharge planning.
And Circle the City is one of the places we utilize a lot for that type of scenario as well.
One final question, and that's just from your perspective, what trends are you seeing?
I mean, I wish it was different from last time, but the fentanyl saturation in communities is really driving a lot of homelessness. It is one of the primary things I think that is really tipping the scales for us. I do like the shelters that have been opened. I wish there was more of them, but it does help. I think that we are seeing rents aren't rising like they were. They've kind of capped off a little bit. So I think we are seeing, hopefully, a bit of reprieve from some of the massive amounts of evictions that were occurring. In this city, though, I think what Sue alluded to in the beginning, we do encounter a lot of, in the outreach portion of it, we do encounter a lot of more of the elderly demographic that just kind of don't know where to turn, and in some degrees they're way too proud to come in and ask. And so just being able to speak to them and assure them that, there is help, and being able to just kind of be the ones to connect folks to and let them know that there's people that care. I think that's a major step in the right direction. But yeah, I still think that fentanyl is the driving force between that's pushing out young kids to adults to even some elderly, right? But yeah, that's what we see a ton of. And it does make our job a lot harder because the windows of opportunity are so much smaller when they're battling that addiction.
Gabe, thank you very much for being here, answering all of our questions.
Thank
Great
you.
questions, great conversation. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I believe next we have Lieutenant Kevin Kwan. And thank you for waiting so long to present to us.
Oh, you got it. No problem. I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Kevin Kwan. I'm currently the executive officer down in our McKellips district. I work in conjunction with Commander O'Meara, who I know has spoken here before. I talked to Sue this week, and she wanted me to kind of present a little bit of our approach. For those that aren't familiar, we take a multi-pronged approach to homelessness, to the education side, the enforcement side. It's really a all-encompassing but very difficult challenge that we encounter, not just in Scottsdale, but obviously across the nation. So with it being multi-pronged, a lot of it comes from an education standpoint to start. If you guys are very familiar with the urban camping law that went into place last September, we did extensive education on that to the community via our social media, via outreach, via our officers contacting individuals all the time. The reason for that is obviously with any new law change, you don't do enforcement right away. That's not reasonable for us to do. So you have this education piece. Verbalizing it is one thing. It's also documentation on the other side to make sure that that is known so that if another person contacts an individual that we do have that, hey, we educated about this, and then you go forward. Now, it's not necessarily just one for one, right? There's many, many prongs to it. It's situational based, just like every incident and every crime that we do enforce, it's incident based. Again, so we have our enforcement side. If a law is being broken, that's not necessarily just urban camping. After park hours is a large thing that we deal with. I mean, since my entire career of 18 years, there's always been nefarious activity that happens in the park after hours. The Greenbelt goes from Tempe Town Lake all the way up to North Scottsdale with various places where people can hide, where there's drug activity, and it's not just correlated to maybe it's homeless, it's a lot of it. So that is another aspect that, especially down in the McKellips district, because our green belts are so split in the middle of our district, that is a focus of ours, and it happens throughout the entire time that we are patrolling. And that is from, I believe, 10 or 10:30 to sunrise. Some of the issues that we deal with is sunrise is arbitrary kind of all year round. So you have an aspect when we do certain details with patrolling in parks after hours that it's, let's look up weather.com and when the sunrise is. So there's a lot of aspects that we go into it, but it's, again, multi-pronged. The third prong that we take, third approach that we take is really the outreach side of it. We will do specific details when city council gets complaints, when stuff comes into the mayor's office, into the police department about complaints for drug activity, for you name it, traffic enforcement, all of that stuff. We take that into effect, and when there's multiple complaints in a specific area, it's our responsibility to make sure that we do address some of that problems. This kind of issue is really no different from us, from what we do on a typical basis. But the outreach side of it, in conjunction with education, is we will literally, in the summer, because it's hotter than heck here, we will take our side-by-side and we go down the parks and we are talking to people. We're asking them if they want resources, and this is all consensual contacts. We're delivering water, we're delivering hygiene kits, we're delivering bus passes. It's our way of getting out to the community to let people know, and it doesn't matter really who you are. We're here, we're humans, but we also have an education part. We have a law enforcement side that we need to take care of. So here's a two-pronged approach. So people do know you can't be in the park after hours, and especially related to the urban camping law, you can't be at the bus stops, being in those types of areas, or taking up a public space as the council approved that legislation. So there's multifaceted parts of it, and it's very difficult when it gets into the mental health aspect of it as well. It's very funny, the police department really takes on this broad role of we're counselors and mental health professionals and law enforcement officers and all these things, which is great. We have the ability to do that and change aspects because everybody's a human. So we work directly with Sue and Human Services, and as well as with Phoenix Rescue Mission. They talked about our approach to the outreach side, and our crime prevention officers will go out directly with the Phoenix Rescue Mission. I believe it's the first Thursday of every month, and it's there to educate and make sure that people know that, hey, there are crimes, but here's an outreach part of it, right? Because if you can imagine, when we go talk to people, most people don't want to talk to us even if they're not committing a crime. So it's very difficult for us to be approachable because we're super scary in the aspects that we look like, but it's okay, I accept that. But we offer resources to everybody we talk to, and we offer services, and that doesn't matter who you are. It's just the aspect of what we signed up to do. So there's a whole broad range of kind of perspective. Related to contacts, statistics are very difficult for the police department to keep on anything, and to be able to validate that, to be able to bring it forth to a number. I can tell you we get multiple calls a day, multiple calls throughout the city, whether it's someone is sleeping in front of a business, or we believe that there's drug activity, or they're behind an alley, or whatever the aspect is. So for some of the stuff that we do kind of not really track, but for a sense of getting a better idea when there is a directed activity from a complaint or something like that, you can easily add 2,000 contacts to that, or even more from what everyone else is doing. Along that comes, did we offer the people resources that we're contacting? Was there some other aspect of it? Was it an arrest? Was there a felony or misdemeanor? We talked about the Community Intervention Court, which has been an avenue for our prosecution side and with Phoenix Rescue Mission to be the case managers for that, so that if there is that mental aspect of it, which is extremely hard for kind of the aspects that we deal with, that's the professionals that can take care of that. So the avenues that we're being provided give us the resources to be able to help the community in a lot of ways. It's just a little bit of a challenge for us, but that's why we work with our teams and our partnerships with it. Yeah, I don't really have too much, so if you guys have questions, I can answer as best I can.
I think I'll start. I'm thinking consciously about the urban camping law.
Yes, sir.
And picturing somebody leaving community house on a Monday, no place to go, no place to sleep, and so they head towards the Greenbelt and camp. And I'm curious what the interaction is like with them, and are they often saying, but I have no other place to go?
Yes and no. Like I said, we do, our officers do an extremely good job of education, whether it comes to traffic laws or whether it comes to anything. So our interactions, I kind of refer to it as like the inner network, the telephone game of how it gets out, right? A lot of people will talk to each other related to specifically the urban camping aspects of it. We've been running these education kind of details for a year now, as well as the enforcement side of it. So it's not necessarily, hey, I've got nowhere to go, because it's not illegal to be in the park during the daytime, right? It's not illegal to sleep in the park during the daytime. But based on how the law is written, it is somewhat illegal to have a structure or to have the other aspects of what that is. So it's a little different. Like I said, it's very It's very gray areas for us, but that's why we do the education and the documentation of the public places and some aspects of that way. So our goal, anytime we contact someone that is in the unhoused or homeless side, is to offer the resources. And I can tell you, like I said, from our perspective, it's very, very, very minimal that they are offered, but that's why we have our partners within the city that we can contact them. All of our CPOs have direct contacts with Phoenix Rescue Mission and obviously with Sue's group, that we will call them on the phone when someone does say, yeah, I absolutely want this, and they are out there within 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how busy they are, but they will be there, and we let them know exactly where they are and kind of some of the parameters. So it's a long-winded answer, but I hope that helps you.
Thank you.
Just to follow up, thank you, Lieutenant. Really appreciate everything you do. It's not an easy job, we get that, and I can already sense you've got the approach that I think works best, given the facts you're dealing with at hand. Relative to our chair's question, I just need to carry that scenario a little further. If somebody is in a park after hours and is approached, obviously they can't be there under the new ordinance. So do your folks sort of move them out of the park, that they, is it, hey, you've got to leave the park? Or is it a broader conversation about, do you have anywhere to go? Can I get you assistance? I think that's what I'm trying to get a handle on.
So yes and no to everything. Every incident that we come across, every contact it's an individual incident. So I can't give you a general yes, that's everything that happens. It's up to the officer to determine it, but being in the park after hours is a misdemeanor crime. So it's no longer consensual at that point when we talk to people, but it doesn't necessarily mean we are out there writing every single person, every single time citation for meeting in the park after hours. There's so many multifacets to it of what is the crime that's being occurred? Are we getting called to it? There's so many other prongs to it, sure.
I got you. Okay. I need a little bit more explanation on this notion of trespassing and in private shopping centers, because I'm assuming when you talk about calls that you receive on a daily basis to
Sure.
the police department, are the vast majority of those coming from citizens, Scottsdale citizens saying they're seeing something that is bothersome to them?
So yeah, yes and no again. I mean, I believe our world in the policing it varies. It depends on the day. We do get calls from citizens calling in. We do get calls from business owners.
Okay.
We do get calls from kind of every aspect of it. It's so varied.
If a person, again, I know these scenarios can move any number of directions, but if somebody is in a shopping center with a sleeping bag or appear to, have all their belongings with them, they're not disturbing anybody, but a resident has heartburn over seeing that person in our community. But the business itself has not called you, does not want to trespass, has no concern with that person if they are not creating a problem. Is that individual committing a crime when they are simply there as a homeless individual in a shopping center when the business owner has not sought trespassing charges?
So it's kind of a loaded question because every business is different in the aspects of who the reporting party is, right? So there's a lot of calls that we may get that is concern for somebody's well-being, whether it's them being laid out where you can't see if they're breathing or not, and we have a duty to respond to that from that aspects. I think you're going down the path of essentially civil rights violations, right? Essentially, are we going up to people just because somebody called and hey, you're out of your place or you don't belong here type of thing? It varies. Do we have multiple calls with a person? There's so many contingencies and other variables that go into it, but at the Scottsdale Police Department, we do not seek out to violate people's rights at all. So it is really contingent on what the call for service is, what the comments are coming in, and is that within the law. We can always consensually contact someone, meaning just saying, hey, how are you doing? Do you need any help? That's not against the law, whatever. It does become a possible violation if you're now doing that with no bearings behind it.
I wasn't going down the civil rights track. I was just trying to understand the current state of the law regarding trespassing, and if the business owner is not filing a complaint, I was trying to understand if a citizen can create a complaint that would cause that individual to be relocated.
As far as trespassing goes, we'd have to contact the business owners. Now, there are some businesses that have a trespass form that is on for when the business isn't open. But as far as asking the person to move, it would be no different than somebody from the out. We wouldn't ask them to move. They have no standing to that private business. Now, public is a little bit different, and depending on the disturbance. But a private business, we will do our best to contact if a business owner is calling, but we cannot trespass someone or tell them to move just because a citizen calls in. We don't own that property.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I think your educational assignment works in a number of different ways, not only the people that call in, but the people they're calling in about, the business owners, and frankly, all 7 of us up here, 6
Absolutely.
of us up here. So thank you.
Sure.
Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant Kwan, for all you do. I can only presume that you have both transient and population and maybe some regulars. Do you find it, do you ever find it like waiting or bussing tables as far as, I keep saying the same thing over and over again. It's just, I mean, I would think it would be hard to find a new way to present it every time. It's like, okay, here's how the urban camping ordinance works.
Well, I kind of correlate that to how many traffic stops I do on a daily basis, or used to do in different roles, right? How many times can I tell someone you're speeding when it kind of falls on deaf ears? So we do take a different approach with that. Like I said, it's really individually basis on did I have contact with you myself one day, and maybe it's a different statement and different situation the very next day. So we don't hold the same, but you're right. We can contact people multiple days, and that's kind of how we view our contacts. Is just because I contact you today doesn't mean it's not a different contact the next day. We go in ebbs and flows as far as kind of how the transient from other areas come in, and we've literally contacted a lot of people that are from out of state, and they say, hey, we've heard Scottsdale is a great place, and that is a testament to kind of all the work that we do here at the city because it's so welcoming. And then it's, well, I don't know what to do. I just moved here. I didn't realize it was 125 degrees today. So we get on the phone and we call Phoenix Rescue Mission, or it's that aspects of what we deal with. In the same sense, you see trends. You see trends of upticks during certain parts of the time. Obviously, during the middle of the day during summer is not a very smart idea. We're not going to make those impact to get people the help they need in the middle of the day when it's 120. But in the morning times when they're looking for places to go, like that's kind of our opportunity because we work 24 hours, whereas a lot of other people don't. So some of their only interactions may be with us, and it's our goal to teach our officers and educate them, like treat them like a human and make sure that you can get them what they need and then move on from there. But yeah, it really ebbs and flows as far as the contacts and via year. I can tell you since our the city's implementation from the law last year, there's definitely a different word of mouth that's gone around that, and that is across the valley and essentially across the nation. More places are enacting these types of laws, and that education has literally taken a full year to kind of get around for many, many people. So it really ebbs and flows.
Well, that's great. Thank you for serving the community. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Kwan, one of the things I heard is your contact with Phoenix Rescue Mission. You're 24 hours. They're Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, roughly. So how does that work during off hours and weekends?
We can call them. There's a number that we can call if there is something that is a need for that point.
Okay, and so there is a service from Phoenix Rescue Mission to respond after hours. Excellent, thank you. Other questions?
Oh, one question. Thank you all. Thank you very much for what you do. You know this is my life too, so I appreciate it. A lot of times we see people on the corners who are asking for, money or help. And yeah, it's difficult because, your heart goes out to people, but at the same time, you wonder if that's the best use of what's going on. How or what is going on in those situations, and how should we handle them as a community for what's going on?
It's a fantastic question. From our aspects of it, it's very unsafe that we see a lot of times because the concept is obviously a vehicle can't drive on the sidewalk in order to provide somebody a sandwich or monetary values and stuff like that. So there is a lot of stepping into the roadway, which we all know is extremely dangerous in itself. There was recently passed a law that I believe is going to affect really shortly that deals with the median, part of the roadway, of no standing in the median of the roadway due to the complete unsafe side of it. So what we've done and implemented kind of throughout the city is when there's an uptick of people seeking funds or something like that, we will put out movable signs that kind of, you guys have seen them, like say no to panhandlers, give to organizations that help that, to try and be a deterrent that we can have. But oftentimes in reality, the signs will get placed down on the ground. And so our crime prevention officers will put them out in specific areas that we know may have a higher population at any given time, and then use that as a visible deterrent to go back and then maybe prop them up. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult to kind of stay by that, and we try and educate them. We try to say, please stay out of the area. But as far as the citizens go, we hope that it's a discouragement to send or to not walk into the roadway, but there's a QR code because everybody has a phone. There's a QR code that will link them to the website to reach out to Human Services and to get that outreach side of it. So that's kind of our hope, is that they have that. We can educate through our contacts of every time of this traffic safety and throughout the other laws that are there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So the city has adopted that practice of redirecting citizens to the agencies that support individuals who are experiencing homelessness. It's a best practice that other cities have also adopted, and it enables folks like these that specialize in this type of service and support. It facilitates that individual getting to them rather than being cycling in another direction, perhaps.
And I guess maybe, and I don't mean to sound like I'm cold-hearted in any way, but my question, I guess, is how many of these people are truly homeless, and how many are working for a company that are making them work for them?
Well, that's again, one of the reasons why this practice has been adopted. So if someone, the idea being that if someone is experiencing homelessness, that we redirect them to the service providers that can actually affect a change rather than making a street side decision and endangering ourselves or others by engaging at that point.
Okay. Yeah, and that's part of my concern too. Yeah, thank you.
Other questions or comments? If not, Lieutenant Kwan, thank you. Thank you for what your police department does. Thank you for being here and talking to us.
Thank you.
I think this has been a really engaging conversation on a really important topic that impacts all of our lives in the city. And so thank you, Sue. Thank you, to Phoenix Rescue Mission and Pastor Jackie, who had to leave because she's got young children at home. And also a special thank you to Councilwoman McAllen for being here and listening to the discussion about homelessness. That brings us to the point of the agenda to identify future agenda items. I will tease you with what's coming up September 25th. Hold on to your chairs, it's really exciting. The Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, CAPER. How do you say that?
Chair Lurie, it is the CAPER, and it is
CAPER.
exciting numbers. It is currently posted on the city's website per federal regulations for you to review in advance.
All right. And then the initial CDBG set-aside discussion for 25-26.
Chair Lurie, that will be moved to a later date.
That will be moved, okay. And a director's report. And then if we look forward 2 more weeks from there, housing rehab, Operation Fix It, and something I'm excited to hear about is Scottsdale Cares, and hoping that we can advance that and move that forward. Anything else? All right, with that, motion to adjourn? Or did you have something else?
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, I did send out invites, but please note that the Scottsdale Housing Governing Board will start at 5 p.m. and will last probably 45 minutes, and the Human Services Commission is not scheduled to begin until 6 p.m. on the 25th.
Okay, and also I'm aware that we'll have 2 absences on the 25th, looking that direction. I thought I had something. Oh, and then next week, I believe on the 18th at 10 a.m., there is the notice of funding allocation presentation. And with that, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, and a roll call.
Chair Lurie.
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung.
Yes.
Commissioner Scheer.
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes.
We are adjourned.